for anything. We creepy little sacrifice. Thick like blood and we do or die.
Dogfight is a musical by Ben Pasek and Justin Paul, so the guys that brought you La La Land, Greatest Showman, and it is set in 1967 and in 1963, and it follows a young man named Eddie Birdlace before he ships off for Vietnam War and then immediately afterward.
Dogfight is a show about all these Marines that are about to go off into the war, and it's like a tradition for them to find the ugliest date, and they all go to this party, and whoever has the ugliest date gets a ton of money. And so I am one of the dates that the Marines find, and the worst part about it is that the girls don't know, but then I end up finding out.
This is a part of your stupid dogfight? I'll kill you!
It's cool because it takes place in recent enough times where it's like, oh yeah, I remember that, but also old enough that it's like historical to us. But it's also has like stories and meanings that apply to any time of life, even the one that we live in now.
I think that young people of now will relate to a lot of the sort of social upheaval and themes and topics that are covered in the show. It's still really relevant. And it is a coming-of-age story about people trying to find their way in sort of an unpredictable world. And the music is just awesome.
Some kinds of time you can't dream away.
It's very folky in a sense, very 60s, 70s, very turn. It's at that point in our culture where a lot of things started becoming really acoustic.
We've created something that, although it's taking risks on stage, I think when people come to see it, they're going to be really surprised that despite all of these things that warrant sort of a PG-13 rating, if you want to call it that, it tells a really powerful story. Just like real life, it's heartwarming and it's heartbreaking. It's beautiful and it's ugly. It's all of those things all together.
Dogfight is about real stuff that actually happened. It might be made up characters, but this stuff actually happened, and so it's really easy for people in the show to connect to it and for it to feel like it's actually happening in the theater itself.
It's a love story, it's a coming-of-age story, it's a war story, it's a story about gender roles and social roles and how those change. So I think more than anything we just want to start a dialogue, both with young people and with our older audience members too, about how they connect to this story and how they can kind of take something away for their own life.
There's a lot of lessons to be learned about the way you treat people and how events affect people, and I really hope that people see that in this show and it changes the way they have outlooks on certain situations and maybe their entire life.
Rose, my character in the beginning, really is just like doesn't know what she's doing, and she's going out on a limb with this guy she doesn't know, and then she finds herself more of who she is.
It's so close to letting get away. There's so much to...
We've been dealing with a shorter rehearsal schedule than normal. It's about 2 weeks shorter than what we normally work with. So everybody has put together this amazing show, learned all of this music, there are a lot of technical aspects in the show too, in a record amount of time. Dogfight runs March 8th, 9th, and 10th at 7 p.m. at Westside High School, and we'll have a matinee at 2 p.m. on Sunday. Tickets are $12 for adults, $7 for students, and you can get tickets at www.warriortheater.org.